savers here.
It's too early in the morning.
Yeah.
I know, that's what everybody's saying.
Otherwise you could have.
You're welcome to bring your coffee, just be comfortable.
So breakfast?
I'm speaking in the next one, so I don't know if there'll be more people in that one.
Very good morning to all of you. Very warm welcome from WEF 2016. Today's session is is entrepreneurship about the big business idea, or it is about the constant mindset of creativity and innovation. It is delivered by Ms. Philippa, Melanie, and Dr. Ifra. Before starting the session, I will tell lead speaker Ms. Philippa will have 15 minutes, and the panelist member will have 5 minutes for delivering the session. After that, question answer session will be taken from audience side. Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. So sorry we had to get you up so early to come to our session. So my name is Philippa Sibanda, and I'm originally from Zimbabwe, but I immigrated to the United States when I was about 18 years old. Come from a pretty diverse background, worked in corporate America mainly, and eventually ended up in the Bay Area, in the San Francisco Silicon Valley area. So I do work for, I've worked for a healthcare organization for the past 12 years, one of the largest healthcare organizations, Kaiser Permanente. So thinking about big ideas and entrepreneurship from my background, I look at how big ideas literally create huge corporations. And so in thinking about a huge corporation, you know that you don't just get there overnight. So the constant innovation and creativity for entrepreneurs would have to be the way to get to your big idea, is the way I see it. I just want to share with you my big idea. My big idea is looking at my perspective of entrepreneurship in the African space. But the African space is exciting because we have the people on the continent of Africa, which the population demographics show that in the next 10 to 15 years, they're going to be a huge emerging market across the board. So we'll have the kind of numbers that are competitive to China and the United States at some point, but it's on a continental basis. So from country to country, you can't really see it right now, but if you look at it from a continental basis, you see the numbers really do add up, and that they then justify the big ideas. But how do we get there? We have to begin by innovating and creating in bites. I thought about the big apple. I thought about the Apple logo, and that's what I saw. You kind of have to bite it chunks at a time until you get to the big idea. So when I first moved to Africa, to move back home as a diasporan that was returning home, I spent a lot of time in the marketplace learning and understanding what are the products, what are the gaps. And when I came up with my big idea, which is connecting the diaspora to the people back at home through marketplace, I realized that I had to start from somewhere. So I started from the branding piece, which in itself was lacking. It wasn't as solid as the type of brand that you see in the United States. So I just spent the past 3 years working on my brand, nothing more. Just taking chunks at a time. So I just wanted to share that with you. If you don't mind showing the first slide. And just to kind of give you a background, I have been working on my ideas for a period of about 4 to 5 years, going back and forth, looking at where the US is and looking at where we are in Africa and the gap. So, the folder that says the second one. This one? So when I look at the big ideas, I think of companies that are, my tech companies that I admire the most Amazon.com, Uber, Airbnb, Google, and Facebook. And I think of their journeys and how they got to be so big. And I look at their size, I look at what it takes. It's a huge undertaking to have that big idea emerge into the marketplace. So you always want to go back to that journey. How did they begin? What small chunks? And I looked at Uber, for instance, and how, it was one guy, driving people around and realizing that there was such a need in creating a platform and then turning around and getting more people on his platform, and that's the journey. So it has to begin somewhere. So I created everything around my big idea. So my big idea is my business, Global Business Innovations. However, getting to Africa, realizing the challenges that I was having, totally different market, totally different resources, I couldn't translate my big idea right away. So instead, I started with Dominion Innovative Creations, which is branding and design and advertising agency. What they did for me was just spend time on the look and feel of my big idea. So I invested my time and effort in ensuring my team in that area was strong, because I know that my big idea is going to require a lot of marketing. So instead of me outsourcing my marketing, I wanted to make sure that it reflects who I am, it reflects my ideas, reflects my experiences, and that is why it has to be an inside organization that's affiliated to us. So while Dominion has its own work, it has customers that are B2B in Zimbabwe, the Zimbabwe market, and surrounding community in SADC region. They are essentially there to create me, my big idea, which is Global Business Innovations, or GBI. And then we realized that the next piece is we needed developers to help us. We needed IT people. We needed to house these people. And I realized, well, we needed fiber. There were so many challenges. So I created an innovation hub, the GBI Business Hub. And that allowed me to house my staff, to house my interns under one roof where they have only like-minded people and separate them from the community, which is extremely challenging in Zimbabwe right now. So instead of them being out and coming to work and experiencing all kinds of challenges, we began to ensure that they were taken care of and that their needs were met, and that is where Dominion Innovative Creations works out of. And again, it was also a way for me to begin to instill the philosophy, because we're looking at a developing nation with a totally different set of values and set of mindset. So I was able to start developing the philosophy of the kind of work ethic that I wanted to bring to my country, which I couldn't find in the marketplace right away. So we've developed a lot of different brands under this GBI model. And it's only now, about 4 years later, that we're launching the real GBI, which is the marketplace. So it's an amazing journey for me, and over the years, going back and forth between California and Zimbabwe, I finally, probably in a year, get to be still in Zimbabwe, because now we're at the place where my big idea is beginning. So it has been an interesting journey. Just to wrap up, so the other presenters can have a chance to talk, I would like to share a little bit about our core values as Global Business Innovations. Our purpose is to create seamless borders through online platforms. Our goal is also to match world standards. I know what those are. I travel around the world, and when I'm in Africa, sometimes I feel we just don't have that level of service or that level of delivery, and that is our purpose, is to ensure that we are matching and we're not compromising the standards. To get the continent, especially the SADC region, to raise the bar on how to do business. It's very difficult sometimes. We have challenges with corruption, with challenges with just infrastructure and resources. So we've got to invest in raising the bar, whether it's training, but we have to begin somewhere. So instead of continuously making excuses for the continent, we begin to say, you know what, let's take responsibility. Even as entrepreneurs, let's begin to change the dynamics and the paradigm. And then service to the community. So the employees that come and work for us, the people that we serve that are receiving our products and services. They are the ones that create GDI, essentially. Because if they're not buying our products and services, we don't exist. So being a part of those communities and ensuring that we are present and involved, that is really ultimately what it's about. I'll display the video that sort of reflects on who we are and what our big idea is and somewhat our journey for the continent of Africa.
Representing Africa, taking Africa to the rest of the world. That's amazing. I'm Melanie Mariri. I'm from Zimbabwe, and I stay in Harare. Zimbabwe is in the southern part of Africa. And I help women in startups or women who want to just scale up in their businesses. I coach them in the area of strategy, planning, marketing, branding. And I'm also a speaker. I'm a mother of 3 boys, the oldest being 5.5. So you can imagine the other 2.